Minecraft has changed massively over the last 13 years. Hundreds of new additions and changes have made the game nearly unrecognizable from its early versions. And as new versions are released each year, the game changes more and more. However, there's a community of players who do not like to play the new versions. This community plays a far older version of Minecraft, far before the caves, oceans, and combat was redone, and even before things such as hunger and experience were added. This version is beta 1.7.3, which by some within this community regard as the best version of Minecraft. As a semi-member of this community, I'm going to explain what makes beta 1.7.3 special and the reasons why people still play this over decade-old version of Minecraft. Before going into why people play this version, I want to quickly explain what makes beta 1.7.3 separate from the newer versions and what makes it kind of different from the even older versions. To begin, as said before, there is no hunger and experience, so there's no enchanting or sprinting. On top of that, there were only 12 mobs compared to modern Minecraft's 80, and lastly, there are no villages, end dimension, nether fortresses, and there were only 6 biomes. There is so much more I could say I didn't include, but I will leave those for the rest of the video and for you to discover. Now, beta 1.7.3 may have lacked a lot of things, but compared to the older versions, it did have the nether, pistons, dungeons, and unique terrain generation, which I will talk about later. So if all of these things are missing, why do people still play this version? The first reason is simplicity. Minecraft today has a lot of things you have to keep up with if you want to fully experience the game. For example, there are 4 bosses, each of which requires some kind of process to create it or defeat it. However, in beta, there are no bosses and the only structure is a simple dungeon. So as you can see, it's pretty simple. The only goal is to just spawn in, gather simple tools, go mining to get better tools, and then build what you want to build. And this is the core of beta. Beta is all about wandering, collecting small stuff along the way, and being a part and building on your environment. And in turn, this version of the game never makes you feel like you have done everything. You may have collected every block and item, but you have never truly conquered anything. And I feel modern Minecraft has a problem where there's not much to do since you can get such overpowered tools and farms as soon as you start, or maybe later down the line and then you get bored. And this is completely opposite in beta version. And this is best shown by the first night, because as I said before, there are no villages or ruins in beta, and there's also no sprint feature. So when it's your first night, you will have at best stone tools, and you're not able to run away from the mobs. So you can either try to fight the creatures above and most likely die, or you dig a small hole and wait it out. This just doesn't exist anymore in modern Minecraft. Now players can get a large amount of food and find a safe structure to skip the night, and mobs as a whole are just kind of completely avoidable. Overall, Minecraft now feels like a completionist game, which isn't entirely a bad thing, but because there's so much now to see, do, and collect, it has lost this kind of humbleness, kind of just do your own thing of the older versions. The next reason is because Minecraft today is very stylistically different from how it was 11 years ago. And I think this is best seen by how these two versions have two completely different aesthetics. Minecraft today has a lot of moving parts to it. There's the warden, pillagers, villages, the oceans, etc. But beta Minecraft doesn't have that. Instead, it's like I said before, you are put in a world and you have to wander through it. And I think the terrain generation really shows this. The modern versions have a lot of huge biomes that have a lot to see and do and to collect. But the beta biomes just don't have that much to collect. But unlike modern versions, the hills and mountains are a lot more fantastical, so you get a lot more lost in the world. These hills can be massive and can honestly be breathtaking, and they are famous for their large overhangs, which many people, including myself, built their bases in. And I'm just gonna say it, I honestly think this is the best terrain generation Minecraft has ever seen. And as you explore, you find that the night and caves are extremely dark. Now, modern Minecraft has dark caves too, but you can just turn up your brightness all the way, so you really don't need torches. There is also the incredible soundtrack by C418, which most people already know how good the soundtrack is, but in beta, it's absolutely perfect because it truly immerses you as you wander through the world. And I lastly got to point out how people build on beta is a lot different from how people build in the modern versions. In the modern version of Minecraft, people build using tons of different techniques to achieve insane detail and a sort of realism. However, in beta, these techniques just don't exist, and that's mostly because slabs and stairs don't function the same way they do now, and there aren't different wood types. So people build into their environment, carving out caves and mountains. But you also see a lot more semi-fantasy builds, such as large castles and skyships, which back in 2011 were extremely popular. And lastly, and probably the most important reason for why people play now, is because of nostalgia. If you were born from 1998 to 2004, this version was most likely your first experience with seeing the game. And if you are older than that, this is most likely when you actually started playing Minecraft. Personally, I was born within the before mentioned years, so I remember in late 2010 and throughout 2011 watching the Ogscast, Ant Venom, and other channels I have forgotten the name of. This is also when Herobrine became famous, which shout out to you if you got scared by that as a kid. Anyways, this is honestly where I believe Minecraft's community first began. In the alpha and before versions, it was a small group of players who are mostly interested in game development and internet culture. But in the beta versions, there were texture packs, mods such as the Aether, custom maps, and servers. On YouTube, there were SMPs, music videos, redstone showcases, and more. All of these things are what the Minecraft community is known for today, but it all started when the beta version took off in popularity. So today, people who grew up playing and watching this version go back to it, just to relive some of the memories and experiences of years ago. Overall, was Minecraft better back then? Personally, I think no. The game now has far more to do and to try out than ever before. However, I do feel the game back then has more soul and brings out more emotion for me than the game does today. Minecraft at that time was still very incomplete, as it was only being worked on by 3 people. And some may see the incompleteness as a bad thing, but for me in the beta community, it works because it makes everything feel a lot more humble and enjoyable. I think the fundamental flaw Minecraft today has is that it's completionist. It's no longer a game solely about building and surviving. And in turn, this is causing problems as Mojang has been adding as many new items and mobs as possible to keep the game from getting boring. But beta doesn't have this issue. It's a game about wandering through a semi-fantasy world, collecting a few unique items along the way, and building whatever you want to build. And honestly, that is the reason why people still play the beta version of Minecraft. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, subscribe and bell. And this is my first video on this channel, but check out my other channel for videos about history if you are into that. Anyways, have a good day and goodbye.